Hi everyone, welcome to Yogetic. My name is Esther, and today I'm going to show you some more things you can do for your hips, some more yoga poses. I think you can never do enough for your hips. You can look at your hips as that drawer well, I've got a drawer like that anyway, or no, I've got a pile like that actually. That pile you put everything on top of that you don't really want to look at, or the drawer you stuff everything into that you just don't know what to do with. Your hips are a little bit like that. If there's any emotions or feelings or things in your life you just don't want to deal with, you just subconsciously just shove it in there. So it's always good to pay regular attention to the hips. So that's what we're going to do. So you can start by coming onto your hands and knees and draw the shoulders on the back. And connect with the earth. Just feel the hands, feel the knees, feel the top of the feet. Connect with the breath. And then go with your attention to your hips. And just do whatever you feel like doing, just to move the hips around a little. So it's nice to make circular movements, just to check in with them. Two ways. It can be just good to wiggle them around a little from side to side. And just round the spine up. Draw the hips under, just for the lower back a little bit. And as well, the other way, just lift your tailbone up, let your back sink. Okay. And then you can bring the knees a bit further back, tuck the toes under, draw those shoulders on the back again, and find yourself into a downward facing dog pose. And just warm up the back of the legs just by pushing one heel down, the other heel up. And you connect with the hips again by also pressing the hip out to the side. So when the left heel goes down, you press your left hip out a bit. And when the right heel goes down, you press your right hip out. And do this in your own rhythm. You might come across a bit of a tight spot like I come here, and just stick around and move within that tight spot a bit. See if you can release it. See if you can work into it a bit without overdoing it. Okay. And then you can bring the feet a bit closer, really ground the hands, and then on an in-breath, press your left foot down, lift your right leg up. The tendency for that right hip to lift is there, and it's also okay, but for now just keep it down. So you keep the toes pointing down and the hips stay square to the floor. And you're going to draw the navel in, reach the flesh of the buttocks towards the heels, and imagine someone's hand on your right foot, and you press into that hand. But you keep your navel in, you keep your lower ribs drawn in a bit at the same time. Press that hand on your foot away. And it gives space in the hips. Okay. We do the same on the other side. So the toes are pointing down, the hips are square. Imagine someone's hand on your foot and press it away. But the hand also pushes into your foot, so it's a two-way thing. Think about your lower ribs, think about your navel. And release. Okay, take a break for a moment. In wide-legged child pose. Also good for your hips. Releasing the arms. The wider the knees, the more you work the groins and the hips a bit. Then you can come back into a downward facing dog pose. And lift your right leg again. This time, do lift your right hip up, bend your knee a little, and get into that hip this way. So you're opening the right hip. Keep your arm steady. Don't collapse in the left arm in this pose. Keep it steady. And breathe. Just move in this pose a little bit. See if you can, whatever you need to do to open up the hips. I feel I need to move around a little, not to get into any cramps at the moment. My hips are pretty stiff. So whatever you can do to help open it. Don't collapse in your right arm. Okay. And again, you can actually step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Inhaling. You can let your toes move out a little bit, and on an out breath, you can bow or maybe come down on the forearms. Now your back knee can stay lifted like this, or if it's too much to keep it lifted and it feels like you're opening the hips more with your knee down, you bring them down. Take a few breaths here. Let your neck be long. If you feel like a little bit of a traction in the neck or neck release, you can let your head hang. That can be also too much, then you just want to look at your hands. And you can place your hands on either side of that foot and do the same on the other side. Remember, you can place that back knee on the floor. And then you can step forward. And then on an in-breath, come up, arms sidewards, hands in front of the heart. You can end this sequence with a warrior two. So step your left leg back and sink into the front leg. So your hips should be open, a bit open now. So take that left thigh back, keep that knee out, spine over the hips, shoulders over the hips, looking over the right arm. Ground those feet. Left thigh back, right knee opens, breathe. Other side. Pivot over the heels, inhaling, exhaling, sink into it. Again, check, right thigh back, left knee open, spine, shoulders over the hips. Stay with the breath. Okay. Just feel the body for a moment. Feel the hips. Hope you enjoyed that. You can bring this into your sequence, or you can start your sequence with this, just to pay a little bit extra attention to your hips. Thank you for joining me.